It's the first day of Easter, a time for celebration in this devoutly Christian country which lies at the crossroads of Asia and Europe. Traditional Christian artifacts line the streets for the occasion. Yet in between the historic buildings and cobblestone streets is what seems to be another world.
This is the small town of Signagi in rural eastern Georgia, a fairy tale environment really, and not one you would expect to find a community of Sikh farmers. But that's exactly what exists just a mile into the valley.
The lush landscape of Georgia's vast Alazani Valley, overlooked by the majestic Caucasus Mountains in the Kakheti region, is an ideal place for farming. Georgian farmers have been tilling these lands for centuries, but in the last 5 years, an increasing number of migrants from South Asia have come to cultivate them as well, farmers from India's Punjab state. Here in Sonori village, Indians have converted a humble house into a temple. With land prices a fraction of what they are back home, these men moved to rural Georgia, dreaming to start or expand their economic opportunities.
Only these are progressive farmers. Only progressive farmer wants to go and abroad.
They consider themselves reformists, farmers willing to take risks and step out of traditional ways of doing things to increase their chances of success.
And here we put 70 to 80% of our savings.
Agriculture makes up almost 10% of Georgia's nearly $790 billion economy. But despite Georgia's abundance of agricultural land, local farmers have limited ability to develop them, and so the country has to import more than 80% of its food.
შემიძლია ვთქვა, რომ ჯერჯერობით საქართველოში სოფლის მეურნეობა განვითარებული არ არის ის დონეზე, რაც დღევანდელობას შეეფერება სოფლიო სტანდარტების მიხედვით. ძალიან ჩამორჩენილი არის როგორც მეცხოველეობის დარგები, ასევე სოფლის მეურნეობის სხვა დარგებიც.
To bolster domestic production, the Georgian government eased visa policies and allowed foreign ownership of land. It also cut taxes and slashed regulations for permits and licenses. An aggressive campaign followed, luring those with money and agricultural know-how abroad to move to Georgia. The campaign targeted several countries, especially India, where more than half of the population is into agriculture. Suddenly, agents promoting land in Georgia began appearing on Indian TV.
In whole world, everybody knows that Punjab, our state, is popular for agriculture business and farmers.
26-year-old Ravneet Khan, along with his mother and father, were among the estimated 2,000 Indians who made the move.
ਇੱਥੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਾਸੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਲਿਵਿੰਗ ਆਫ ਸਟੈਂਡਰਡ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੈ, ਨੇਚਰ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੈ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੈ ਇੱਥੇ, ਹਵਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੈ, 에ਅਰ ਗੁੱਡ, ਟੂ ਮਚ ਆਕਸੀਜਨ ਹੈ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਵਧੀਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਵੇ ਇਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵਧੀਆ ਰੱਖੇ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਇੱਥੇ.
In Kakheti region, I just found beauty of nature, nothing else. When I seen the buildings, it was like a black and white movie.
With gorgeous surroundings and affordable, fertile land, Ravneet and his family were quick to plant their roots. They bought wheat fields, a house, a car, and a dog.
In first year, I bought land in the last of 2012, and I made all operations and saw the land. And when I get the crop, the expenses were more than the income. So I thought that I must try in future and let's see what's going to happen.
So how did you come to know about Georgia?
From the TV channels.
Yadwinder moved to Georgia in 2012, but unlike most Indian farmers here who would opt for traditional wheat or cornfields, Yadwinder bought vineyards.
We have grapes, black grapes here. It's called Sapherab in Georgian.
And is that a popular grape in the country?
Yes, it's very popular grapes in the country because it's very expensive, more than white grapes. They are giving good money. Everybody said these grapes are very good here. So we choose these things.
So Yadwinder took the leap into a crop he had no previous experience with.
Yadwinder says he would get a profitable return on his harvest back in India, but with only 1 hectare of land, that profit was relatively limited. Here he has 82 hectares, and it certainly doesn't hurt that Georgia is a wine-loving country.
Georgia produces more than 15 million bottles of wine every year as part of a tradition that dates back thousands of years.
How has the season been for you? Has it been a productive year?
Yes, first time when we work here in the first 2 years we got good money, but last year have some problem with the government. That time we have got less than that.
Gurpreet Singh was one of the first Indians to move to Georgia. For the last 6 years, he's been managing nearly 130 hectares of land for a company back in India.
ਅਸੀਂ ਹਜੇ ਤਾਂ ਚੈਲੰਜ ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ, ਬਟ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੌਸਮ ਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵਧੀਆ ਸਾਥ ਦੇ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਖੇਤੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਵਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਖੇਤੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨਾਲ ਵਧੀਆ ਖੇਤੀ ਹੋਊਗੀ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ।
The influx of foreign farmers came as a shock to many locals. Worried about the migrants' impact on their livelihood, some took to the streets.
განპირობებული იყო, რომ ადგილობრივ მოსახლეობას არ ეკითხებოდნენ, ვინც გასცემდა ამ მიწას, ვის საკუთრებაშიც ეს მიწა სახელმწიფოს საკუთრებაში იყო და სახელმწიფო ანგარიშს არ უწევდა ადგილობრივ მოსახლეობას. შიში ჰქონდათ მიწის წარსულს და რაღაც თავისებური.
In 2013, a new government changed progressive land and visa regulations, suspending the sale of agricultural land to foreigners.
90% of people who apply for visa, they were rejected. The reason was security purpose of the country.
ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, ਉਦੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਵੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਮਨ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਖਰੀਦ ਕੇ ਗਲਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਘਰ ਖਰੀਦ ਕੇ ਗਲਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਇੱਥੇ ਇਹ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਹੀ।
More than 50 families gave up and returned to India. Visa regulations have since been eased again, yet concerns among some local farmers remains.
უცხო ტომელების ხელში ხდება. პატარა ერი ვარ და ისეც გადაშენების პირას ავარ, დემოგრაფიული მდგომარეობა ცუდი არის ჩვენთან.
ქართველი იყოს და ქართველმა მოიყვანოს ვიდრე ინდოელი. რა იგრე ცოტა ერი სკოლო ცოტანი ვარ თათა. ტექნიკა მოგცემ, ტექნიკა მოგცემ. რო დავამუშავოთ ადგილები. ეგრე შოუნა ვაყარო ნახეთ, ჯერ შემოსულა რა იყო და ახლა.
But their frustration appears to be not so much with the success of their new neighbors, but with what they see as inadequate government support.
ეხლა კიდე ეძახიან კიდე უნდა მოუმატო.
რთულია იმ ხრივ, რომ არავის იმედი არ უნდა ქონდეს შენ თვითონ შენი ფინანსები თუ ნაწარმოო რა. სახელმწიფომ ერთი წელი შემოიღო წლიური პროცენტი 8%, ისიც მოგვიხსნეს.
Ravneet's farm has created jobs, allowing his family to integrate into the community. Yet inside his home, one would never know they're living in rural Georgia. The Kang family has become quite well known in the community. The family even helps their neighbors out financially.
And they always pay you back.
Yeah, always pay me. Nice people.
I love everybody.
And they all love you too?
Yes.
Some of the Indians, like the Kangs, have also learned the Georgian language. The number of Indians taking their chances in Georgia has slowed, but it's certainly not stopped. Satinder Singh Chandratwat has just arrived from Rajasthan. The Kangs took him to see their fields.
इसमें पानी का क्या साधन है यहाँ पर?
पानी वैसे तो साधन तो है, लेकिन कई ज़मीनों में है, कईयों में नहीं है। लेकिन ज़्यादातर लोग अभी तक जो करते हैं खेती, वो नेचर पे डिपेंड ही करते हैं।
With the opportunity to buy in Georgia 5 times the land he could in India, Satinder is excited about the possibilities for him in the country.
नहीं, जॉर्जिया वेरी ब्यूटीफुल. जॉर्जिया बहुत ही अच्छा और सुंदर लग रहा है और उम्मीद है और 101% उम्मीद लेके चल रहे हैं कि हम भी यहीं पे आ जाएं और यहीं पर लैंड खरीद लें. तो हम भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि भाई ऐसी कोई खेती अच्छी सी खेती करें.
Local crop production by either Georgian or Indian farmers has undercut the high import costs the country pays for agricultural goods. And these savings are making their way back into the pockets of people all over the country.
ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਸ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੀ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ, ਬਟ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵਰਗੇ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਣ ਗਏ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ. ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਜਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ. ਹੁਣ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ.
It may be unconventional, but this globalization of farming is redefining the sector and unleashing the potential this lush, picturesque country has to offer.